Hello, everybody. A warm welcome to you to this Sundays with Spirit. Thank you so much for choosing to be here today. I'm Kieran J, and I am the host for this gathering, and I'm delighted to be here with you. I'm offering a backdrop to our activities today. And that is an invitation. I will keep inviting us to come to center and look and see, are we choosing to judge or to join? Are we choosing to see differences or remember our truth, that we are the same, united as children of the truth? So I hope this will be helpful and a beautiful holding of this gathering. We're going to begin with Sarah leading us in prayer. Thank you so much, Sarah. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's just place our hands on our hearts and close our eyes and just take a breath of love and gratitude for this moment right now of being together to celebrate Spirit. We're so grateful to partner up with the divine and come together to celebrate Spirit today. And we're so grateful to bless our beautiful speakers and their healing words of wisdom and love and truth. And we willingly choose to allow their messages to elevate our consciousness and open our hearts. We're so grateful for our high vibrational music today, which we allow to uplift our souls and flow through every cell of our beings. We willingly give up and lay upon God's altar any feelings and thought patterns of stress, fear, lack, limitation, or separation. We willingly release any blocks to love. We choose to place all of our faith and trust in God, knowing that we are being guided to the highest and best in every moment of our lives. And we declare love, harmony, joy, freedom, beauty, and peace for all. We are grateful to share the benefits with all because we truly are one. And we let it be, and so it is. Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Sarah. Coming to center right now. Are we choosing to judge or choosing to join? Are we seeing differences or that we're the same, all children of the truth? Coming now to our guest musician, who is a familiar face here at Sundays with Spirit, I'm happy to say. And this is the introduction to Ray Davis. He's a singer-songwriter on a mission to introduce the world to high vibe music and art. High vibe, according to Ray, celebrates the best and highest ideas about life, humanity, and each individual's unique opportunity to contribute something good to the world. Ray's songs speak of personal challenge and transformation. He uses stories and reflection to suggest new ways to deal with old common issues. It's powerful soul medicine for those who are sick and tired of mediocrity and the status quo. So, Ray, welcome. Over to you for your first contribution.
Thank you, Karen J. And good day, everybody. I don't know what time it is where you are, so I say good day, good evening, good morning, and take it all in. And I'm very happy to be here, and I'm happy to know that I'm familiar to this community. It's really, really good to be with you again. So this first song is a song that invites us to consider whether we are indeed judging or joining. Very, very appropriate. The song is called Compassion. And, instead of simply, someone confronts you, comes and talks to you about their situation, instead of judging or even thinking of offering a bit of advice, perhaps the best course of action is to sit back and just begin with knowing the truth about them. Knowing the truth about them as you know the truth about yourself. And then let's find out where Spirit is taking us in terms of our interaction. The song is called Compassion. Fear came by 41 afternoon. She cried and cried so much that soon tea was tepid and forgotten. The fear said, this time I think he's gone for good. So in my mind I'm wondering, should I say this or that or not? And suddenly the silence, right when everything was quiet, I knew what was needed. Just love and compassion. Fear picked up on the second ring. He mumbled before confessing he was totally besotted. The fear moaned, he's only toying with my heart. So now I'm wondering how to start to unstop a mind that's collided. Then in the silence, right when everything was quiet, I knew what was needed. Just love and compassion. Fear, blinding fear. Fear no longer speaks through me. Oh no. It's love right now and here. The clearly colors, all I see you now. I see true now. All is well. I forgot to mail the a check today. Tomorrow someone's rightful pay will not be in their possession. Sometimes I feel like such a simple-minded fool. Maybe I should go back to school to pursue safe profession. But in the silence, right when everything was quiet, I knew what was needed. Just love and compassion. Just love and compassion. Compassion. It's just love and compassion. Love and compassion. Love and compassion.
Thank you so much, Ray. Beautiful. Checking in. Right now, are we judging or joining? Are we choosing to see differences or remember that we are the same, united as children of the truth? Without judgment, look, what's happening now? It's my great pleasure now to introduce our speaker, and this is her introduction. Jody Heglowitz is a mom of 2 boys, a wife, an author, and a truth seeker. She's committed to bringing light to the world through her books, her transformational programs, and one-to-one sessions. Through her own journey of self-discovery, after losing her dad to suicide at the age of 15, Jody is passionate about teaching others the art of aligning with the truth of who they are and living with intention. So Jody, it's a great pleasure to welcome you. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Beautiful music, Ray. Thank you. So today I want to start by talking about the blocks of lack and the gifts that are all around us. But I want to first start with a story of pain and sorrow and lack and limitation and certainly separation, as well as a story of hope and triumph, transcendence, and a deep sense of gratitude. And the story for me, although it didn't end there, it started specifically on December 29th, 2010. It was a day where, to kind of paint the picture, I was a single mom. I had 2 boys. I was working full time. I was just depleted of resources, time, energy, money, just all the things. And I was on the phone with my mom, and I was having a conversation with her about my stepdad, who we have a history, a very tumultuous history that contains verbal abuse in my teens. And we were having a conversation about that because my stepdad and I had gotten into a little tit-tat the week prior. And my mom said to me, well, Jody, do you think it's time for you to set that down and to move on and to forgive him? And I said, Mom, I've tried. I'm always the one who tries to forgive and tries to connect and, just really come together. I'm always the one, and he never reciprocates, and all the things. And I was just so aggravated and so upset. I ended up hanging up the phone with my mom, abruptly saying, okay, I gotta go. I get off the phone and I go into the bedroom where my now husband, then boyfriend, was sitting on the bed. And I sort of just threw my phone on the bed in aggravation and just pure frustration that I felt very unheard. And my boyfriend, now husband, Josh, he says, what's going on? And I said, can you believe it? My mom says this, and you know the history that me and him have, and just all the things. And he stopped and he said, well, do you think there's any truth to that? And of course, I felt this sense of betrayal, this, you're not playing into my victimhood. How dare you? And it triggered just this explosion of emotions, feeling separated, feeling unheard, feeling just like I was alone on an island. Nobody understood the pain I was coming from the history of, the history that this man and I had. And I said, you too? Are you serious? You too? So this is where I kind of want to pause the story a little bit to go back a little bit further. As Karen J had introduced me, I did lose my dad to suicide at 15 years old. And a part of that, in 2010, what I was spiritually really grappling with was a very deep void of not having a suicide note. So at the age of 15, I created this story in my mind that said, if someone commits suicide, the people that are left behind, they get a suicide note. And so where's my suicide note? And I felt like I didn't have the answers. I felt that I had this hole in my heart of, so much uncertainty and so many questions as a 15-year-old girl. And I lived from that story for 19 years. And so going back to, or kind of to rewind a little bit more, my dad and I were very close. He was just the light of my world, and I was to him. It was kind of the epitome of a daddy's little girl. And so his suicide really rocked my world. And so in my mind, having a suicide note would give me the closure that I needed to heal. So now going back to the story of December 29th, 2010. And I'm just kind of, depleted at this point, that I feel kind of alone, and my boyfriend didn't understand me. Nobody understood me. And so I did what I always did, which was I had a briefcase that my dad had carried around back in his business days. And I filled it with little trinkets. It had like a watch and a rock that we had picked up on a park one day. And it also had 5 of his journals that he had written during the 2 years of separation prior to his suicide. And so whenever I felt like I wanted my dad, I reached for his journals, whether it was a breakup, I was stressed, it was a birthday, I did this frequently. And so I grabbed his journals and I went out to the patio outside. And I just remember flipping through the journals, feeling like there's got to be an answer here. It's kind of like I was looking for a word in a dictionary. I was just kind of thumbing, but really not reading anything. I was just certain. And this is the story that I had convinced myself. I convinced myself that there was some kind of hidden suicide note within the pages of his journal. I just had to dissect it, and I had to find it, kind of be the scout. And so I was determined in that moment to find this suicide note so that I could finally be released of this pain. And I was searching and I was searching, and at one point I was just bawling my eyes out, and I had reached a level of desperation in that moment that I never reached up until that point. And I was sort of, kind of had my fist up to God, like, how dare you take him away? And Dad, why don't I have a suicide note? Where is my suicide note? I just need closure. And in the middle of my fury, a voice pops in and says, you're not lacking a suicide note. You're failing to see the gifts in your dad's 5 journals. And I went like this. I looked around. I was for sure that there was somebody around me. I had an immediate sense of this presence, this love just wrapping its arms around me. I felt in that moment, although I was a little taken aback because there was no way I could have been in my right mind to think such beautiful words. And so I knew it was a voice beyond me. I knew it was a power greater than me. And so I could just kind of sat there absorbing the words for a minute. And as I did, these tears of release just came out because there was such resonance in the words. I was failing to see the gifts in my dad's 5 journals. I wasn't lacking a suicide note. And so I felt this sort of lifting in that moment. And I never had the best sleep that I've ever had, that I had that night. It was such a night of peace. I actually was experiencing euphoria for a good week. The next day, I was getting into the car. I was in the garage with both my kids and I was putting them into the car. And as I was coming around to put my younger son in his car seat, I went outside briefly and I stopped and I looked around and I heard the birds for the first time. It felt like the first time. And I thought to myself, have those birds always been there? And I've just not heard the birds. And I just remember driving to work, feeling like the sky was brighter and I could actually see the people's faces that were, driving next to me. I just felt such an immense amount of love and presence in that moment and in the weeks to come. And that's what I live from today. And where I stand today, I stand in the truth that I feel grateful for walking through that fire. I feel grateful for experiencing such deep lack that I'm able to see the truth, which is the truth is there is no lack. And in God, there is no lack. In God, we have everything. In spirit, we have everything. But it's interesting to look back on that experience and I've reminded myself, although the euphoria did go away and I was kind of snapped back to reality, that sentiment I've always carried with me. And I've asked myself, sort of kind of like a journal entry sometimes. And I would invite you to maybe even ask yourself when you're feeling the sense of lack. I kind of have this journal entry of I'm lacking blank. What am I failing to see the gift in? And it just is a way for me to come back to that truth, because experiencing the false belief in lack for me showed up again as pain and sorrow and desperation, disconnection from my soul, really. But when I experienced the truth after December 29th, 2010, I felt expansive and light and love and grateful. And that's the truth of who I am. Not 100% of the time, of course, never 100% of the time. But when I come back to the truth of who I am and align with the truth of who I am, I can tell that it's the truth because it feels good. Like Jennifer says, we're out of alignment because we're not in the truth of who we are. And I can feel that. And looking back, and seeing kind of the story, the 19-year-old story that I created and held on to, which was that of lack, sort of came like this ball. At 15, it was just this little small idea. I needed a suicide note in order for me to have closure. And then as time went on, it just continued to get bigger and bigger until I wasn't even able to see where the story derived from. It just became my life experience. And I can really see now, looking back, that in recognizing the truth, it removed the blocks to love. And I experienced the true sense of a miracle, right? A shift in perception. And that's all it took, was just a shift in perception. And I'm grateful for the way that it unfolded. Although I know in truth, I probably didn't maybe need it to come that way, but apparently my soul needed that experience, the sort of the voice coming in and interrupting me, I really did feel like it was sort of an interruption. You know, it was an interruption of my victimhood. And we need that sometimes, you know, and I feel like sometimes it doesn't have to be as big as lacking a suicide note. It can be as small as not finding our keys. And when we believe and we come from the place of something's missing, then that will be our experience. And that story will perpetuate. I feel that looking back, lack is the tourniquet to love and prosperity and connection and divinity and oneness and abundance. It's the tourniquet. And I can see that so clearly now, of course, in hindsight. And when I'm in the story of lack, I remind myself of that I'm buying into false beliefs, that I just have to let go of the tourniquet and turn my eyes towards the truth, which is nothing is lacking. Nothing. Thank you for listening to my story.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you very much. Let's go into meditation. I invite you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable to do that. Coming to center. Checking in. Right now. Am I judging or joining? Is my interest in seeing differences? Or am I desiring to remember the truth that we are joined? We are the same. Right now, can we go further and abandon human thinking? Whatever that thinking might be. And choose to come into presence. This is where the truth is. Here, now, in presence. Can you hear these words and let them simply be a portal, an opening to go beyond all words into presence, into truth? Can we forget all ideas of yesterday? Right here, right now. Let go of yesterday, all our yesterdays. Can we let go of all ideas and expectations and dread about tomorrow and all our tomorrows? Let them go, leave them alone, and rest here in the holy instant together. Any resistance we're feeling to coming into the holy instant, distracting thoughts, bodily aches and pains, thoughts of yesterday, thoughts of tomorrow. All these are our blocks to love. Not actually what's in the stories, what's in our yesterdays, or what's in our tomorrows. The block is choosing to go there in our mind, rather than be here now in our mind, in the holy instant. In this quiet place are all things answered. Let's come again to this idea. In the quiet place, in the holy instant, are all things answered. Can we believe that? Do we wish to believe that? There is absolutely no lack here. In present, in the present, in the holy instant. All the gifts of God are here. We share in them equally. If we become familiar with this quiet, holy place, where all gifts are given, there is no lack. We can maintain this state of mind in all situations, in all relationships. So let's practice opening our minds to the truth that in the holy instant, we are all together, all joined, all the same. There can be no lack or attack because we are one, because we are unified. from this holy place, let's look out onto a situation in our physical lives that's uncomfortable, distressing, painful, maybe a relationship, maybe a home situation, financial situation. And look at these circumstances as you would watch a movie. Watching it from this holy place where all is perfect, all is peaceful. Watching the movie of separation, lack, judgment, grievance. Staying rooted in the truth that we are joined. All is peaceful. All is perfect. Shall we together choose a miracle, a shift in what we see as real? This painful circumstances that we've brought to mind, that a movie of separation. That's not real. Where we are now, joining in a holy instant together, children of truth, peaceful and perfect, that's real. From this miraculous holy place, look again at your uncomfortable circumstances. And maybe you'll see something you didn't see before. A new light there, a new possibility, a new choice to join and not judge. Have a look, see what might be there. Let's join in gratitude for this opportunity to look and share and choose our reality. And very gently, let's open our eyes again. And we go back to Ray now for his second musical offering. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Karen J. Sunlight falls warm around your head, bright light calm, time to rise from bed. After all that you've been through, your sweet dreams calling you. Wake up, rise up, you will see. Life is more than misery. It's all right now. Looks like you made it somehow. It's all right now. Move on. You need not mention all the webs you spun. No invention can undo what's done. Guilt can only weigh you down if you let it hang around. Wake up, rise up, breathe it in. You can start all over again. It's all right now. Looks like you made it somehow, and it's all right now. Give into this epiphany. Let your soul sing a symphony. Sing against darker destinies and let it all go. Why not give yourself another chance to live and to love beyond your circumstance? Get up, stand up, and join the dance. And let it all go. Just let it all go. Just let it go, 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 and just move on. It's all right now. Looks like you made it somehow. And it's all right now. It's all right now. Looks like you made it somehow. It's all right now. Move on. Sunlight falling, warm around your head. It's all right. It's all right. Bright light calling, time to rise from bed. It's all right. It's all right.
Thank you so much, Ray, for that perfect and beautiful choice to follow what's been happening in this service. Coming to center. It's all right now. And we choose that to be our truth. Join with that idea. Let all else go. We're coming to the breakout room part of our gathering. Thank you to Varna for setting it all up. And when you go into your breakout groups, would you like to rest in your mind in a quiet place and listen to what Spirit would say through you? Maybe something about Jodi's presentation, meditation, the music. But listen, listen, and see what Spirit would say through you. And I hope it's a very rich sharing for you in the breakout groups. So Lana, if you could get that going now, that would be wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay, people are well on their way. And for the Facebook folks, we're going to have some sharing here in the main room. So Rosalind, could we come to you first, and what would Spirit have say through you?
Well, first, I would like to start with so much gratitude for all that has happened today. Sarah, you always start us with a beautiful invitation to open. When I hear your voice, and then I hear your words, and then I look at your face and I see the deep dive, I go with you. So prayer for me is joining, and joining is the theme of today. And Jody, I've not met you before, and it's such a pleasure to get to know you through your talk. And so we started with some history with you, and then we went to the future from that past. We went to what happened to you next, and then we joined you in present time with your idea of the tourniquet and how it opens us to present time gifts of all that has happened and a new look as to our perceptions of what we have believed has happened to us, our stories, if you will. And Ray, your first song was about compassion. And yesterday on my news feed came in a discussion with Brene Brown and Oprah. And I've read all of Brene Brown's book, but I don't follow her. And she said something that was just perfect for your song, something I hadn't quite thought of, even though as a psychotherapist, I've taught maybe 10 years about the psychology of shame. But she said that the opposite of shame for her is compassion. And shame for me is that ridiculous idea that we're not good enough. And it's the best kept secret. It's like the emperor's new clothes in our society. We all pretend we don't have it. And that's, or we know we have it and we pretend we don't, and we think other people don't have it. And it's just a silliness that if we go to Karen J's idea, she gave us so many, but I loved her pointer. She said, abandon human thinking. And I would add to that, abandon human feelings. And then what do we have but presence? And if we start with that movie, and we use Jody's example as our story, if we go to the lack, for me, what I lacked was thinness. I was an obese child, and I thought if I only had thinness. But underneath thinness, because thinness wasn't available to me, even if they put me on a diet, in my small mind, thinness was not available to me because of that unworthiness. And when we wake up to the dreams that we've been living from as truth, we surely need that compassion that Ray spoke of. We just need that gentleness. And Karen J's invitation to watch ourselves as the movie. So the movie of Rosalind has the story of her being obese and blah, blah, blah. And then we step back and we have the observer of the movie who's also not in truth because she has complaints, just like Jody had left from her grief about her father, the story that if she only had the note, then she'd be all right. And so I had my particular witness, local witness to my story. But behind that is the presence that Karen J was talking about, the witness of the witness who has no story, no story. And we can bring that to the past. We can bring that to what's going on in our families. We can bring it to this particular moment. And when I go to this particular moment without the story, that's where I find the radical now. Not the now that's in the service that might wonder if I'm making any sense. That's not the radical now. The radical now is below that, where there's no story, where I give up any human thinking, any human feeling, and just go to the beingness. And that's where our worth is. That's where the connection is. That's where Ray's second song comes. What did he say? Life is more than misery. Join the dance. How beautiful is that? Thank you, everybody.
Oh, thank you, Rosalind, for that beautiful threading together of our service so far. Wonderful. Thank you. Sarah, can we come to you? Is there anything you'd like to share?
Sure. Thank you, Rosalind. You just touched on so many beautiful pieces of wisdom from everyone today and brought it together so nicely. I just really enjoyed hearing such a great example of a true miracle, Jody, in your story, that sense of where you really shift your perception, where you really let go, and it just led so nicely into the meditation, because that is the place that you went to have that miracle, to experience that shift. And I loved being guided back to that place today. And just really, it just reminded me so much of that place that you can get to within, where you just, it's where really inspiration is born, where creativity comes from, where you just let go of your stories, of all your ideas of how it should be or what it could be, or just those attachments. And I have a bunch of orchids around my desk, and I was just kind of staring at them a little bit as you were guiding us through, and I just got all kinds of creative ideas. So I just want to thank you so much for that gift. And I've really been working with just this idea of really settling into being worthy of joy and beauty, and allowing that experience in my life, and not putting any limitations on that. And so thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
What a fantastic opening, expansive idea. Not limiting your joy, just not limiting all the holy good that can be there. Thank you very much. Ray, anything you'd like to say rather than sing at this moment?
And I got lots to say. But first of all, again, gratitude. I'm really grateful to be in this space and to share this space. I think one of the most beautiful things about this particular service is this kind of time, the breakout rooms where people have an opportunity to share and to hear. I think it's really lovely. Jody, in particular, the story you told, that transformative story, that was really powerful for me. My particular approach to the path I'm on is a Kabbalistic path. And one of the things that I'm enjoying about what you presented was the beautiful expression of what we'll refer to as the law of reversal, which is a complete upside down turning of our perception of things. And it leads to regeneration. It leads to a new life that Yeshua spoke of. And it is sometimes those difficult, tough, banging your head against the wall situations are exactly what we need. And I so resonated with what you had to say there. As a matter of fact, that's where, partially where that second song came out. I was in a state of mental and emotional disarray. It was way before I found this path, and I had to just get quiet, and in the misery, just placed my hands on the keyboard and started playing this particular thing, and the song came through. And it actually wasn't until years later when I saw the truth in it. So I'm kind of an amen into your experience there. Appreciate it. And one other little thing. This bit about all of this is sparked by intuition, inner teaching. So it was interesting when you said you heard a voice literally direct you there. And every time I hear you, Karen J, I know that's what you're responding to. Every time I hear you, I feel the guidance, I hear it, and I just wallow in it. And it is that true voice of teaching. And it is often surprising, but always guides in the right direction. And personal testimony, this morning, I did not know what I was going to say. I wasn't certain. And I came in knowing that I would get the information I needed. And the two songs just came perfectly. And I hope that they were lifting this up. It is my intention to lift this verse. So there it is.
Thank you, Ro. Thank you. Thank you. All so beautiful. And it's all arising out of our joy. This beauty, this sharing couldn't be coming unless we were joining together. Maybe before going to Jody, I can mention that Jody, you completed your talk a little earlier than I expected. No problem at all. It's just, oh, we stopped at 25 past. Okay. So it was a wonderful gift for me to just simply open. I did not know what was going to be coming next out of my mouth. I just followed and followed, and it all completed in the perfect timing, which is utterly exquisite for me to experience. So I'd like to thank you for that, for that gift. And is there anything you'd like to say now?
Well, that's funny, Karen J, because I didn't take note exactly what time I started speaking, but I had an idea that it would take roughly, 20, 25 minutes. And I wanted to make sure I stood on point. And after I ended, as soon as I ended, I got this feeling, oh no, I ended too early. And then what I received was, it's all in divine timing. So you just confirmed the divine timing. So thank you. Thank you all so much for your beautiful words. And it's so interesting because when I was preparing for this, when I sat down, just a couple of days ago and thought, what do I really want to share? What's in my heart that I want to share? What came up immediately was this story. And what's interesting is that I have not shared this story publicly yet. So this is a story that I've held near and dear to my heart for 11 years. And part of the reason why I joined Masterful Living with Jennifer is to really step into the spiritual, intuitive aspect of myself. I've been a speaker, I've been an author. I can, get up and talk about self-care and, taking care of the body and the mind, but this spiritual stuff, the true sense of a miracle that occurred on that day, it's been something that I felt like I had to kind of hold close for a long time. Although that was not the truth. That was just the story and the experience that I was feeling. So I just thank you all for reflecting back to me the divine perfection in the timing of sharing this story at this time, because I feel like it's certainly not going to be my last. And this is just really the beginning of really stepping into the spiritual principles and the Course in Miracle principles that I so deeply have been living by. But again, I've been keeping, sort of sacred close to my heart for all kinds of fearful stories. I personally think that I was a witch in the Salem trials in another lifetime. So I think there's some, past stuff there. But ultimately, this is the first time, I had shared it publicly. I've shared it so many times with friends and family, close members. And they've said to me, when are you going to share this story? And it's actually in the book that I'm writing now that's going to be published soon, but I haven't shared it publicly yet. So I want to just thank you all for giving me this beautiful, safe space. And I thought as soon as I received the download that this is the time to share it, and this is the environment to share it, I had just this recognition of, yes, it's time. So I want to thank you all.
Mm. Thank you, Jody. Yeah, wonderful. So come to center. Let's check in as we come towards the end of this Facebook Live sharing. Are we choosing to judge or join? Are we hanging on to differences? Or choosing to remember that we're all the same, all children of the truth. And I'd like to offer, Jody, that my sense of your sharing was that it was indeed spirit-led. You weren't sharing to tell your story for Jody's sake. There wasn't a personal agenda in sharing your experience. You were allowing spirit to speak through you, and therefore it had great power. It came through very clearly and cleanly. Yeah. We feel the difference, and all sharing's wonderful. If we start sharing because we've had a big experience and we need to get it out, then that's great. But there will still be ego involved in it. And there's another place to go to, in the clean sharing, when spirit speaks through us. And that's what I felt with you today. And that was a privilege to receive. Thank you very much.
I'm so thankful that came through. Thank you.
Mm. Yeah. Mm. Some silence. I'm feeling some silence. Let's be together in silence before our breakout room friends come back. Okay, well, I saw a few coming back, so I'm guessing this is us for the remaining part of the service. A few announcements. This is the announcement stage. This is a free service, but it takes paid staff to provide this service. So if you feel drawn to make a donation, then that would be wonderful. And asking Lana to put the information in the chat as to how you could make a donation if you'd like to do that. As always, there's plenty on offer through the ministry. And just a few things I'd like to mention. The Stop Playing Small retreat is coming up very soon. Jennifer's providing this wonderful, powerful space for healing over 2 weekends, the 10th to the 13th of September and the 17th to the 20th of September. And it sounds a really powerful series of classes to shake out the resistance so that we can offer our gifts and our talents. So again, Lana would be grateful if you could put that link in the chat. Finding Freedom from Fear, Spiritual Bootcamp with A Course in Miracles, a profoundly transformative 7-week class to support you in moving to your next level of breakthroughs. And registration closes on the 3rd of October for that. And I'm going to be leading a series of 4 classes in October and November, 9th and 23rd of October, 6th and 20th of November, called How to Make a True Choice for Peace. A highly experiential way of working, looking at some material from the course to become more clear on why we might not be peaceful, and how we can actually choose to make a true choice for peace. If we make a true choice, we will be peaceful. Again, Lana will be very grateful if you can put the link for that in the chat. Thank you, Lana, for all your support as pilot today. Stepping in, judging or joining, differences or unity. Right now, what is our mind's choice? Ray, it would be wonderful if you can give us offering number 3.
Be happy to. All right, so this song was inspired and directed by my wife's mother. Before we got married, she passed away 2 days before I had the opportunity to meet her. But she made herself known to me. At least the idea of her made itself known to me while I was working on a song in particular. She was known as a person who was always joyful, always saw the brighter side. It's inspired for this particular song called Hallelujah. And before I begin, keep in mind 1, 2, 3, 4. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. One lovely lady laughing, she wakes into the big bright morning light. Hallelujah. 2-minute eggs and toast, she sings hallelujah for each tasty bite in a big bright morning night. And she sings good life, sweet life, my life, now and forever. I live and move, I have my being in you. Hallelujah. 3 things she's got to do, but she works, hallelujah. Though the schedule's tight after tasty bites in the big bold afternoon light. She says there is always something to be grateful for, and as I count them more and more show up shining. She seems to know that no one knows just how or when it ends, and that every day we breathe is a good day. Hey, hey, hey. Hallelujah, for all the saints who labor, she praise her, hallelujah, and she says good night to the schedules tight and the tasty bites in the dancing blue moonlight. She's praying good life, sweet life, my life, now and forever. I live, I move, I have my being. I have a being in you. Hallelujah. 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 Oh, hallelujah.
Yay! Hallelujah indeed. Thank you, Ray. Absolutely wonderful. Our closing check-in, coming to center. Right now, am I using my mind to judge or to join? Am I using my mind to focus on differences, make them important? Or am I choosing to remember our unity as children of the truth? And Sarah, would you like to close us in prayer?
Thank you. Let's just place our hands on our hearts. Just taking a breath of gratitude for this very beautiful, powerful healing service today. So grateful for this time together to celebrate spirit and remember to join with each other and with spirit, with the oneness of the divine. We are willing to offer up any resistance to this joining, any reluctance to allowing and accepting the light and love of God into our hearts and souls in every moment. We declare our oneness with God in all beings and our willingness to share the healing benefits of this service with all, because we are truly one. We let it be, and so it is. Amen.
Amen. So here we are, seemingly about to go our separate ways. Thank you very, very much for your presence, your healing contributions, verbal and non-verbal. It's been a great, great, divine pleasure to be with you and share with you today. And for now, goodbye and hope to see you next week.